Picture this. You casually ask, "So, Android or iOS?" And instantly, everyone in the room transforms. Your quiet friend becomes a tech analyst. Your cousin starts acting like he works at Apple's headquarters, and someone with a cracked phone screen suddenly claims they have insider knowledge. That's how powerful this debate is. Two platforms, two personalities, and one very confused group chat caught somewhere between blue bubbles and whatever Android calls those things. I'm Professor Everything, and today we'll be answering the question, what is the difference between Android and iOS? Right here on Explaining Everything. Before comparing features, let's understand their entire personalities, because yes, operating systems have one. iOS is like that friend whose desk is spotless, whose apps are all in alphabetical order, and who gets stressed if someone moves a single icon. Apple wants everything consistent, smooth, and under control. They build the hardware, the software, and they even tell apps what they're allowed to do. It's like a perfectly organized digital bubble. Android is the chaotic friend. The friend who shows up with 3 different wallpapers, 7 widgets, and an app layout that looks like it was created at 2 a.m. after too much caffeine. Android stands for flexibility, openness, and giving users the freedom to do truly questionable things, like downloading apps from a website with a suspicious number of pop-ups. Neither is wrong. They're just different philosophies on how life and phones should work. Here's where Apple flexes. Because Apple makes both the hardware and the operating system, iOS is insanely optimized. Even an older iPhone can still feel surprisingly smooth. Scrolling on an iPhone is like sliding on butter. Apple's A-series chips consistently outperform most Android chips in raw processing power. And that's not fanboy talk. That's benchmark talk. Android performance, however, depends heavily on the phone. You've got everything from budget phones that struggle opening their own settings menu to flagship beasts with 24 gigabytes RAM that can run games, live stream, and edit videos all at once. Apps also behave differently because of this. On iOS, developers only need to optimize for a small handful of devices, which means apps often run super consistently. On Android, developers have to design for thousands of screen sizes, chipsets, and devices, including that one phone released by a company no one has ever heard of. So sometimes performance varies. This is where Android fans start smiling like they already won. Android lets you customize almost everything. Widgets? Everywhere. Icons. Replace them all. Want your entire home screen to look like a retro computer from 1995? Android will not stop you. In fact, it will cheer for you. iOS, historically, was about as customizable as a toaster. Apple said, you get a wallpaper, and that's it. But over time, they added widgets, icon customization, and lock screen tweaks. Still, Android is miles ahead in creative freedom. Notifications are another clear win for Android. Android notifications are organized, detailed, and easier to manage. iOS notifications look polite, but also slightly confused about their job. Also, file management. Android behaves like a real computer. Just plug it in, drag files around. iOS behaves like a strict librarian who needs to verify your intentions before letting you touch anything. If there's one thing Apple absolutely dominates, it's the ecosystem. When you use multiple Apple devices, AirPods, MacBooks, iPads, Apple Watches, they all talk to each other like a family group chat that actually works. AirDrop, Handoff, iMessage, FaceTime, Continuity, it's all seamless. You can copy something on your iPhone and paste it on your Mac. You can take calls on your iPad. It feels like magic. And yes, fact check. AirDrop really is faster and more consistent than most cross-platform sharing systems. Android's ecosystem varies depending on the brand. Samsung, Google, and others have strong systems, and Google services work everywhere. But because it's made by many companies instead of one, it's not as unified. However, Android completely wins in hardware variety. Foldables, flip phones, huge phones, tiny phones, phones with styluses, phones with massive batteries. If you imagine a type of phone, there's probably an Android version of it. It boils down to philosophy and priorities. iOS is controlled, smooth, and designed to work flawlessly with other Apple devices. Android is open, customizable, and gives users the freedom to shape their phone however they want. If you want consistency and a seamless ecosystem, go iOS. If you want full customization control and endless hardware options, go Android. Apple has a curated menu. Android has an entire buffet. Neither is better. They're built for different kinds of people. Just please don't start a comment war about it. If we helped you pick your next phone, don't forget to like, subscribe, and you can't go wrong with either. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. If you enjoyed this video, please check out our other bingeable channels. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.